Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Hope and the Truth. We are here, as always, to strengthen our faith in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and renew your hope. With me today, Jerome Jones. Thank you for coming by.
Oh, pleasure. Pleasure is mine, sir.
Oh, no, it's all mine. So, on this show, we like to give people's testimonies and let everyone know how the Lord has come into our life and positively affected it, no matter where our walk started, where we're at right now. So, Jerome, jump right in. We were talking about 97, so 97.
There we go. Well, let me first by saying, you had asked me a question earlier. What was my story about? And mine is one of deliverance, freedom, enlightenment. Those. If I would take three words, those would be the three words that I would use. Deliverance, drugs, women, money. Wow. Freedom, life. I have a cousin, and he says to me, enjoy the dance. Enjoy the dance. And when he said that, when he first said it to me, I thought about what type of dancing do I like? I'm a slow dancer. I'm a hopeless romantic. So when I'm dancing with a woman, I want to hold her in my arms. I want her to feel my heartbeat. I want to feel hers. Because that's what we're, getting to know each other. If we're already knowing each other, that's where we're at intimacy. So I see myself slowing down and just letting the Lord hold me and becoming intimate with the Lord, just enjoying the dance.
It's a little more than identification. It becomes a relationship.
Right.
That's what we need to establish with him. And a lot of people don't realize that. They have this ritualistic worship,
Wow.
and they don't know our Father.
Right.
They know of him.
Right. Well, he says, if you abide in me, I will abide in you. This is a personal walk. This is a personal relationship, and you have to set aside time where he says, I'm a jealous God. That means, not so much the green-eyed monster that everybody would think about, but he desires relationship with us. He made us for him. Therefore, he wants us to come to him. He wants us to return unto him. And one of the best things we can do is to love him. You know what I'm saying? Personally, I say, what can I do to please God? Well, it says, without faith, then it's impossible to please God. Well, what goes with faith? Faith without works is dead. Well, that means I take what I believe in, what I know that he's given me to do, and get up and move in it, which is what brought us here today. So it's personal.
Yeah.
It is personal.
So when did you get that wake-up call?
Wow. February 1st, 1971. That's the best way I can put it. I have a saying with those who know me. I'll call myself the earthquake baby, okay? February 3rd, 1971, Northridge earthquake. At that moment, my uncle has it somewhere on film, but I have an uncle named Daniel McJimson, and he likes to this is his favorite rendition of this story. The moment I set you on the table, boy, the world started shaking. And it's true. My uncle had it on film. February 3rd, 1971, the day I came home from the hospital, I like to tell everybody that's the day the Lord, my father shook up the world to say, my son is home. And that's it for me. I grew up in the church. I did have my wilderness experience. Thank God it wasn't 40 years. But, I had mine. And it was because, for me, an understanding of I can't speak to anybody. I can't reach out and touch anyone. And I've never been anywhere. I haven't experienced anything. Man, Moses did some things. Moses was a killer. He had to abandon ship for a minute, made him a deserter, made him a loner, but then he was also loyal. He also knew how to follow. He had fear, he didn't want to, be persecuted, trying to do the right thing. Don't let your good be ill spoken of. There are a lot of things and examples that we're given we can reach back and really look at and grasp. God has given us everything we need. He's like from the root to the fruit. It's personal. You got to get in there and you got to study it. You got to look at it. You got to open it up. I'm not a traditionalist when it comes to my spirituality. Mm-hmm. So I tend to kind of push some people the wrong way sometimes. But that's because, when he woke me up, the enlightenment part, I can honestly say on this portion of my journey, like I say, September 97, I walked into Cathedral of Praise International Ministries in Rubio, California, and I had come home. I had returned to my first love. Being born, like I said, in church, understanding how it flows, having a relationship with God, born in a relationship with God. I knew it. I knew the Spirit. When I felt the Spirit of God in that house, I knew. Everybody can't feed me because I knew.
Mm-hmm.
So I just can't follow anybody. I'm not just because you read the Word, read the book. I'm smart. I'm intelligent. I can study for myself. I've read the Dead Sea Scrolls. I've studied with the Muslims. I've studied with the Hindus. I've experienced different portions of life. So when it comes to the truth, I was able to look into it and say, that connects with that. It is one big story of love. But we have to be open to it. You really have to be open to letting the Lord speak to your heart. If not, then how can you look up to Him and say, you can't?
You resist the proud. And a lot of times people don't get that whole concept when Jesus used the parable of the old wine, the new wine. The old wine's all the knowledge we learned in this world.
Right.
And if you're holding on to that, the knowledge of this world will contradict directly up to the Word of God.
Sir.
And when you pour all that up and goes, I don't know anything, show me. Then you're ready. Then we're ready. Then because that's a surrender.
You got to empty out.
That's a surrender.
You have to empty out. That is truly the definition of living a surrendered life. It truly is. Like I told you that day, I walked up, I pulled my dope sack out of my pocket, I threw it on the altar in front of the whole church. I said, Lord, help me. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know what it was because it was in a paper bag.
Yeah.
But they didn't. Few people who knew me knew what was going on. I was high that day when I walked into service. But I knew I had to go. He said, come as you are. This flesh is filthy rags, man. When I wake up in this flesh, I wake up into sin. But it's up to me to take that sin off. It's up to me not to operate within the confines of this realm. I have to want to go up. I have to get up and say, shake this thing off and go. And I chose to do that. I chose to get up, not be confounded, not be subjugated to, not be held down by, at the time when I was delivered from meth, it was a misconception going, there's nothing that it's impossible. People can't get off of it. And I said, the devil is a lie. The devil is a lie. I have a deliverer. I have a healer. I know where to go. And I got on my face. I was at my sister's house. I'll never forget it. And it felt, the room was so hot. It felt like an Indian sweat. Okay? And I lay prostrate before the Lord. And I said, Lord, look, if you are real in my life, if I am yours, tell me who I am. And I don't even know how long I was laid prostrate, man. I have no idea how long I was down here. But when I got up, when I came out, I could hear one word. This one word rang through my head. Forgive me. This is my man. This is business. We'll get into this why later. I felt it. This is my man. It was Malchiel. And in that, I went into the Strong's, I studied it, and it gave me my meaning for my life. And it's God's chosen son to stand in his stead until his return. Then I began to go a little deeper, and is the holder of God's Spirit to bring him on to. And I'm going, wait a minute, hold on. So basically you're telling me you're choosing to come through us and operate and do what you want us to do. Okay, I can go with that. And at that moment I said, whatever you want me to do, let's go. And it's been, a roller coaster could not compare to this.
It's an adventure. It's an adventure when you say yes, because you realize I'm so grateful I said yes, because everything changes from the heart. When you say yes from the heart, that's when it all.
And first example for that change was, like I said, at that time I was selling dope, using just everything. It didn't matter, you know what I'm saying? And everybody turned. Everybody who I thought I could depend on, everybody who I thought I knew, everybody who was used to everybody turned. And it didn't matter what I had in my hand. It didn't matter how much of it I had in my hand. I had there's an area in San Bernardino called Little Africa, okay? And part of my testimony is the fact that I went from hurting that land to helping to heal that land. And during that turn in time, I could not sell a nickel. I could make that nickel bag a $15 bag, and I couldn't sell that bag of weed for $5. And I'm going, man, I can't make $5? No. All right. That was done.
Because you start to realize
That was
he's
done.
showing us. He's like, I'm providing for you.
Right.
That's see,
Immediately.
little by little.
Immediately.
We're showing stuff.
Yeah, it was
it's
just,
like,
you know, and like I said, I told him, Lord, you have to, when I said you have to provide for me, you have to help me now, because I don't, you know, you allow me to grow up like this, I was, you know, but then he showed me later on, he said, but what were you doing? You were running a business. You were taking care of people. You were doing things. Now I need you to take that and elevate it. And that was the moment when I can honestly say I began my personal awakening, and realizing that I was waking up to a higher level of consciousness, a higher level of thinking, a higher level of motivation, operation. Just, I was no longer on that level, you know. And while I'm not better than anyone, there is a level of life that I have the right not to live on. I don't have to just accept. I don't have to compromise. Don't compromise, folks. No compromising in God. And without that compromise, man, it set me in dominion. that's the best way I could put it. You know, it set me in dominion, because now I'm operating same gifts, but in a different spirit, different heart. And it was love. The love just, you know, it was the love, you know. So, and, you know, that servant's heart took over, and, you know, it was a change, man. It was a change.
it really truly is to be born again. People don't get it. It's a renewing of your mind. It's a renewing of
Man,
everything. Because
it
you
was
start
a
seeing, we
change.
go, and it's difficult. You start realizing we can sow seeds. We're simply just
Yeah,
sowing seeds in
that's-
water.
that's
He's
it.
giving the increase. And
That's
so
it.
it could be frustrating. I know
That's
when I
it.
first woke up, because you were like, Lord, they don't see it. It's like, you're not the one who's opening their eyes. I am. It's like,
Right.
we just got to go to work because it shows
Water,
our spirit.
Till, prune, pluck, whatever
Yes.
the job is, whatever
Yeah.
the job is, you know, is, hey, I mean, you know, he gives us a lot of metaphors in your life, throughout your life, and that you'll be able to go back on, you know, and pull from. You know, he tells us in his word, don't mess up, don't forget about the rules, don't go away from the plan. You know what I'm saying? Well, what plan? How, man, go back. Understand that, don't be traditionalized, but understand that the fact where you come from, what you were giving, you know what I'm saying, spiritually, will take you out. You know, there's a word, you know what I'm saying, in I was studying, and the disciples were coming to Christ and saying, how's, you know what I'm saying, heaven going to be? Tell us about it. You know, what's going on? We're ready to go. And he says, why are you so worried about going to heaven? You know, have you found the beginning? You want to get to the end. You want the reward, but have you done the work? Have you done walked the journey? Have you done what it takes to say, wow? Once you do that, once you go ahead and you look back at the beginning, that Alpha and the Omega, you return to your first love. When you do look back and you go see the beginning, the job is done. You know what I'm saying? You've actually stepped into that next thing, because you've taken the time to enjoy the dance. You're not so worried about receiving. You know, like my man said earlier, everybody wants to get to heaven. Everybody wants the rewards. Everybody wants the abundant life, but nobody wants to take the time to go to hell with Jesus.
Hence the
that
present.
suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't understand. It's already here. We're dealing with it.
Yes.
You know, it's not somewhere you're gonna have to extra. No, once you receive, man, I was locked. I was set. Oh wow, you know, here I am now.
Because Jesus tells them, you know, they're talking about, when he talks about she had 5 husbands who will be here, and he goes, you greatly err. In heaven,
Yeah.
they're not giving into marriage. And so there's a different thing. You start to think about something. Jesus stressed the renewing of your mind. So if you're battling this stuff in your mind, people are too worried about their physical ailments, not understanding what truly is hell. Think of the stuff when we repent for, because we're hit with it. He shows us, like, this is what you did.
Well, see, people understand that was, mind you, a consciousness. Everything is spiritual. It's a matter of you putting yourself in hell. Free yourself, lock yourself up. What do you want to do? It's a choice. We're given the freedom of choice. You know, so if we're able to tap into the heavens, if we're going to go to that next dimension, if we're going to go behind the veil, then that means we can also put ourselves in hell. We can torture ourselves. We can lock ourselves away in these cages on this fleshly earth, this realm, this rock that I like to call it, and get caught up. Man, no. I want an abundant life, but I might enjoy it now. Okay, let's go. How do I enjoy it now? that was my next question. How do I enjoy it now? And hey, you ask the right question, you get the right answer. But you got to be willing to take the steps.
Jesus said, take up your cross and follow me. See, too many people, they forget. They stop at the cross.
They stop at the
and
cross.
they see him there, they go, that's great. I appreciate that. But he goes, no. He said, take up your cross and now start going. Because if you're enduring something, you're suffering through. We can understand his sacrifice.
Yoke is easy. Come on, man. He said, well, that's your cross. That's his job that he gave you to do. He's going to equip you for it. He's going to, prepare you for it. He's going to provide for you in it. But you have to be willing to get up and take the steps. That's like right now. I'm deep water walking right now. Okay, we got up, me and my cousin, and we have a scenario where we come from in Los Angeles. It's called 430. Okay, and it's a clique within the gang confines. You got the gangster card, you got the neighborhood card. Well, from Crenshaw to Central, there's a line. Okay, literally. And that line is where the gangsters in the neighborhoods meet up. No other area on this line does this happen. Okay? No other area is this going to take place. But you got the 420 gangsters, you got the 30s, and you got the 40s. Now, the 30s are part of the old card, which is connected to the neighborhood card, but they're not claiming neighborhood. So I'm giving secrets. I don't care. Now, like so what? Then you have the neighborhood card itself, and that's where you got the 60s, the 90s, the 40s, that connection of the card, and so on. But within the confines, none of those other lines get along with any of the gangster lines that go with the same numbers. You know what I'm saying? And people don't stop to realize most of y'all's blood-related cousins, second and third, need to be sitting down at the table, grandma's table, eating dinner or something. Go get a piece of apple pie and talk about who you are, never looking. Never stop and understand what this thing was originally meant to have, what it was meant to do. It was a revolution in progress. Okay, so if a revolution is in progress, what's a revolution? That's something that we're changing. That means we're overcoming something, tyranny, destitution, whatever it is that's holding you back. It was meant to hope you out of, not help, hope you out of. People, that means you got to give hope. You got to give them a ray of light. You got to give them something to grasp onto. Teach them how to fish. Teach them how to eat. You know what I'm saying? Things happen. Okay, drugs, prostitution, money, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to blame it on. It still amounts up to the flesh. Somebody got greedy in a certain area. Somebody seen something they wanted. Somebody went away from the path. Well, here we are now today, and me and my cousin have decided to pick that burden up because it was given to us, and really just saying yes. You know what I'm saying?
Here I am, Lord.
Yes.
Here I am.
And we're sitting down one day, and we're talking about everything that we have in our hand, and it just hit me. 430 music. We might as well do it because we can do that. And in 430 music, we're bringing together the gangster card, the neighborhood card. We've already started talking to our brothers out there, people who are already coming together in the music industry. So the revolution is here. It's already here. The seed was planted then. Now here's the result. That's how I'm looking at it.
It's unification.
It's
It's the opposite of what Lucifer does, which is divide and conquer.
Divide
The same
and conquer.
purpose has been used throughout history. It's still used to this day. If people could wake up and see it, they're using these things.
That's it.
Want to justify their own selves. It's not understanding that's what he wants. He wants
it.
you to argue, because if you ever
That's
sat
it.
down and talked, you say, wait a minute. You'd see that when you come together, you can necessitate change. But as long as you're dividing, trying to argue, you're never going to see it.
Well, you gotta understand this. I'm his reflection. I'm him, he's me. What's the apple of my eye? You. It's plain and simple. Okay? And if I'm going to touch and recreate, if I'm going to let it go forward, then I got to love you first. There's no other way. There's nothing.
Nothing.
There's nothing, because in that, truly out of my heart, then I'm going to respond to you, react to you, help you, encourage you, support you. Whatever it is that you're going to need at that moment in time, that's when I'm going to provide it. That's what we were called to do. We said there should be no lack in the church. The church is the ecclesia. The people. It's not the building.
No.
The church was actually the people. He was actually saying, that call minds back to me. The flesh is what he was talking about. Just the people. Just the people. Not the building, not the rocks, not the whatever else they might want to blame it on.
Don't you know you're a temple of God? People, they miss this stuff. They pick and choose, take stuff out of context.
Okay.
I mean, even in Corinthians, it talks about
Man.
love will be the only thing that's left.
That's
all
it.
this other
That's
stuff
it.
is half.
That's it.
And then when that passes away, who cares? All that stuff. God is love.
That's-
and even in
hey,
correction,
that's it.
you're correcting out of love.
That's it.
Meekly. Not going, hey, you're doing...
No.
Because when it's love, then you start to see that's what's going to change.
That's it. That's it. So we've reached out. No financing, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Just we deep water. We walking. So my brother said to me, he's like, I got more. Come on, let's go. Whatever we go, let's go. Mind you, we're in the middle of a business deal out here. Like I said, I was brought out here under other pretenses. God, use some tools to wake me up and say, I'm using this. This going to push you in your problems.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get up and move. I said, come on. You said, okay. So as we're going through this, we got one call that, like I said, was the spark to the flame. And then that spark was kind of removed. And we're looking, going, okay, now how do we do this? And we're actually on the phone. And I don't know if you're familiar with the show Love and Hip Hop, Hollywood, okay? There's a young lady who I fancied. She was actually my favorite character from the show. Her name is Hazel E. Well, this particular weekend, 420 weekend, she's doing her single release, okay? She had already volunteered, put her hand up, LOI and everything, to be on the show.
Okay.
The team that asked us to put the show together for them, like I said, something happened with their situation. I don't know if they got a better deal or whatever it was, got what they were looking for, basically. And they opted for another show. So we're sitting down going, okay, we did all this work, we put this thing together, what can we do now? You know what I'm saying? We got the investors lined up, everybody's lined up, ready to go. And I'm sitting down and we're talking over it, and he says, well, they are going to release her single that same weekend, and we don't want to. I said, they're doing what? He said, say it again. He said, yeah, they're releasing a new single. I said, there it is. I said, there it is. Come on, he gave it to us. They're releasing the single. Let's promote the girl. Let's support her. Let's give her, she's looking for it. Nobody stepped up to help this young lady. Let's give her the support that she needs. And we already had the foundation. We had everybody lined up from Snoop's Camp, LBC Movement, Smoke Your Own, Low Daisy, Lil Draws, my boy Calzone, my boy PDMZ. We have a young lady, Tony Bossolini. Let's go. My man Stud. We got Big Weezy. We got it, fool. We got it. Let's go. And he's like, all right, let's go. So he called his big brother, talked to her management team. They agreed with it. So here we are. We have a full production to support this young lady and to give her the love that, this is a tough industry. There ain't no love in the music industry. I'm sorry. It ain't no love. I don't care if you from your loved ones. Ain't no love in the entertainment industry, okay? And once again, we have the opportunity. We're taking the 430 Music label. We're going to support her. We already talked to the powers that be out there, the G's in the hood. And we're bringing this unity thing together. We're doing it because it's time. There are a lot of youngsters out there waking up. There are a lot of people tired of status quo. Rumors of wars, this and that. Everybody getting scared, watching TV. Man, look. The biggest favor they could do is to let me go. But Satan already sent me back twice, so I know they don't want me down there because they already know that, man, please send me home to heaven. Man, you do not want me coming back in this war. I'm really coming back.
People forget it's like when it's our time, there's not a thing that's going to keep us here.
Nothing.
And when it's not, there's not a thing that's going to take us. And it's like, we're at a time now where I was just preaching about this, where believers, not a non-believer, believers have to stand up. And because again, it's like the barren fig tree. When Jesus walked back into the city, and from a distance it looked good until he got close, and it didn't produce fruit. And I go, how much more upon his coming back as a believer? What fruit have you produced? I
do not want to be the fig tree that he don't know. Look, I got one over there, one over there. Yeah. I'm not burying nothing either. No, we're going to take these talents, we're going to let them grow.
Because you realize we have today. He said you have this day.
That's it. He said let the worries of the concerns of today, don't let tomorrow take care of itself.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? All I can do is with what I got right now.
Yeah.
And with what he gives me, I'm going to do my best with it. Absolutely. Like I said, that's the only way I can please him, is to get up and go forward with it, to sow them seeds, to water somebody else's seeds. You know what I'm saying? That's not building on another foundation. That's actually uplifting. That's being steward over someone else's house. That's giving their love. They're little keys to receiving the blessings. Mm-hmm. There are little keys to receiving the promise. There are little keys to waking up. But you got to want it. You know what I'm saying? You got to, like you said, you got to take these steps. And the base step, I can't say it enough, is love. Love lifted me. You know what I'm saying? Love lifted me. So when it comes down to it, I have a brother, Bishop Dexter Kilpatrick. He's out of Victorville. And I'll say for the last 18 years, okay, this has been one of the few brothers that of heart in his heart. This is one of the few people that I can say I can follow. Like I said, everybody can't feed me spiritually. It's just it's not gonna happen. I'm sorry. I know too much. So I'm responsible for too much. I have to go and do on my own. I can't sit in the pews anymore. I can't do it. I'm not a layman. So what do I look like as an elder of the tribe sitting down in the back trying to hide and not doing my job? That means somebody's not going to be covered. Somebody's not going to be protected. My job is not getting done. Well, no, I'll smile on me. He said, I'm good and we're done. Well, I can get that now. So smile on me. Because if he smiles on me, he's blessing me. He's equipping me. That means I get to go do more. So, come on, Jesus.
Harvest is plenty. Laborers are few.
Hey,
People were never supposed to retire in the pews.
Man, I'm sorry.
Most of the work is outside of these four walls.
I was diagnosed with Osgood Slaughters at the age of 5. By the age of 8, they put me in a half body cast. Within 3 to 4 days, I had that sucker beat up and broke. I refused as a child to be set down. It's never been in my spirit to be held down. That spirit of the breaker, that ramming spirit, it's always been inside of me. That dunamis power, I can't control that. So I'm not going to try to stifle it, and nothing else can hold it back. So with that being the case, boom. Just boom, where you go. That's your Big Bang Theory. In my studies personally, I'm giving them sickness, I don't care. That's the Big Bang Theory, because when you come into, that's the explosion. You now receive the power. You've now been equipped. And, for those who want to sit down and stay hidden and scared, and, I pray for you. Because you're stifling yourself. You're cheating yourself.
Yeah.
You're crying and mumbling and murmuring. No, that's not the energy that he wants. When you get up and regardless to whatever you're going through, smile. How you doing? Thank you, Lord. Just get up. I don't care if you got to put Vaseline on the top of your teeth.
That's funny. And people forget this, is that when Pilate, is one of my favorite scriptures, when he had Jesus and he goes, don't you know, I have the power to set you free. And Jesus goes, you could have no power unless my Father gave it to you. And people have to understand this. There's no coincidences. The moment you realize that, yes, it's a purpose life and a purpose of why you're here, you'll step into that. Now tell me about the event you have coming up.
So, to go back into the event, we're, like I said, we're hosting and promoting Hazel E's new single, which you're talking about. Then we have a comedy show that night of the 22nd, the following day. The event overall is called the 420 Residue, okay? And a lot of people are like, what 420 Residue? What's residue? Well, like you told me before, with my knowledge of cannabis, which is how I even got into this world, I understood one thing. When I was back there and I had my little sneaker toe and I would scrape that resin sometimes will hit better than the weed that it came off of. That's the overflow, okay? And I'm going, what was the spirit of the hippies? What was the spirit of 420? If I was to go to Woodstock, what was the main thing? Love, okay? So we want to take, what's the residue of love? The spirit of love, that's the Holy Spirit, that's the love, that's us giving forward. So we're taking the 420 residue, because we're not doing it on 420. So it's not a 420 celebration. We're taking the residue and we're letting people know, take the meaning of it, take the understanding of it, take the spirit of it and give it back. Thus the unity movement that we have, the 430 movement, and giving everybody the opportunity to come in and say, hey, I'm here. Black, white, Indonesian, Asian, Mexican, I don't care. My family's who God gave me. So everybody on my table is not going to look like me, and they don't. That's how he wrote it. So we're taking that, and in that we're collaborating with a few other people. We have a gentleman named Sean Major, okay, and he has a nonprofit called Eating at the Surface. So we have 3 different non-benefits nonprofit organizations that we're feeding into. There's a young lady, I'll call her young lady, but she's like Mom, Miss Eastern, and they're in the old the community center off of Sahara.
Okay.
And they partnered up with us, and I'm like, wow, we get to go to the historical where the music started. Like, wow, just knowing how things work, seeing the favor. He says, when you please me, I will give you favor in the eyes of man. Well, Come on, dude. If he gonna make my enemy my friend, imagine what those who love me are gonna do. So that's just all favor, you know. So I'm just paying it forward. That's the best way I can put it, you know. I have a young lady down here named Michelle that I was introduced to by you, and she has a nonprofit that works with at-risk youth. So she's came on, me and her spoke extensively. I love her so much. She is the best, okay? And she's agreed to come on and help us out with some things. And we were looking for a nonprofit out here to partner up with. We didn't have one, you know what I'm saying? Because we moved out here. I'm in Vegas now. So I'm like, you know what I'm saying? And the amazing thing for me, just to give you guys another example, when you're covered, you're covered. When you waking up, you come under the covering. That hedge of protection is just your angels surrounding you. The Night of Live Nations event, okay? I know some folks who are connected with that, and we were supposed to be right there, like right there in the midst of all that, okay? My little brother never gets sick, and I call him my little brother, but he's bigger than the big brother, who's actually a big brother, but he's a little brother. So, you know, my brother, I've never seen my brother sick. In 40 years of life, I've never seen this kid sick. He caught a little cold or whatever, but not sick where he won't, especially for something, an event. Not gonna happen. I had just moved out here. We hadn't really spent time together, so we were gonna go to the concert. Especially, I had to come on, let's go. You know what I'm saying? We got the spot, let's roll. Like I said, I have a young lady that's with me named Deidre Shaw. She's my partner at Daddy Rome's, and she was not feeling. Well, wait a minute. My two little party animals don't feel good. And she's going, I want the Vegas experience. I want to get out. I want to do something. I want to go. Let's go. She gets sick. He gets sick. My mom said, go home. Yes, ma'am. As we're driving past the Mandalay Bay on the freeway, going back to California to get the rest of our stuff to come back, we're seeing all the lights and the popping and the explosions and all that. I'm like, wow, they really got it going on over there. And 10 minutes later, my mom calls me and says, are you guys okay? You didn't stop, did you? I said, nah, Mom, we passing state line, Whiskey Peach. She said, good, keep going. They just shot up Live Nation, and my girl just starts crying, Lord Jesus, because we were just talking about the goodness of God. We were just talking about how, you know, saying, don't worry about, because she was apologizing, baby, I know you want to go. I was like, no, whatever, sometimes it's not meant for you to go and do things, because you never know what God is protecting you from. You never know. Just don't go. Just be obedient. Be sensitive to the Spirit. And man, I tell you, now, mind you, she's visually impaired. She just got diagnosed with dual detached retina, so she really can't see. You know what I'm saying? So imagine me grabbing her, trying to guide her around. Oh, that would have been it. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now. This event would not be happening. You know, so these are God's planned events. This isn't Jerome. You know, Jerome is just a vessel. Now, yeah, I'm a vat. I get that, you know what I'm saying, part. I get to keep some. You know what I'm saying? But I'm here to give out what He gives me. You know, so. And that's always been my thing. You know what I'm saying? I've never been a selfish, greedy person. I've never been in a position. I've always been that giver. I've always been that cover. I've always been that protector. So, you know, I have to look back at who I am and learn how to operate in the confines of the Spirit that God gave me. And I'm like, wow. You know, when I look at who I am, I'm loved. All right, Lord, I'm little you. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. How can people get a hold to go to the concert?
Now, to go to the concert, you can email us at daddyromes@gmail.com, bigweez@yahoo.com. We're doing, now this is another thing. I've kind of gone with the millennials because as you can see with Hazel E being a star in the LBC movement, I'm reaching out to that generation. I got kids, you know what I'm saying? I have grandchildren, so I want to make it this is their level. I'm putting them up. So it's a pop-up thing. I've noticed they're doing a lot of things with the pop-up concerts. So in the entertainment business, if you don't adapt, you don't stay relevant, you fall off. So I can't give the exact location yet. Can't give the superstars, but hit us up at daddyromesedibles@gmail.com, bigweez@yahoo.com, and we will begin to give out. You can also hit us up on the same Instagram, Daddy Rome's Edibles at Instagram. Follow us, and you'll begin to see what we're going to be doing. We'll be putting out little excerpts and little clues and everything because this is going to be a big event. I can't let you know who the star is going to be right now, but hey, come out, support, be surprised, be entertained, be loved, come get good food, good entertainment. I mean, what more could you be? What more could you want?
You heard it here first. Thank you so much for stopping by, brother.
Amen. Pleasure's all mine, truly.
As always, give your life to Jesus Christ. We'll see you next time. God bless.
God bless.